Well, basically what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be looking at the philosophy aspects and applications, things that we can attribute basically to the most recent events, things that have been happening in the most recent, well, over the weekend anyway. We're going to be looking at the philosophy of winning successfully, having a successful season. What does that look like exactly? Because there's a lot of major situations that are happening, and we're trying to now gauge what does success look like when we're seeing failure from a lot of teams, like the Boston Bruins, like the Colorado Avalanche, like the Milwaukee Bucks. We're seeing these teams not have success anymore. Some of the top teams are losing, and they're getting embarrassed here now. So that is why we want to be paying attention to this, trying to figure out what the philosophical aspects are, what is the application, what can we learn from this, and how can we actually make a proper conjecture to all of this, because it's very stifling and polarizing stuff. And it doesn't really have much of a platform for conversation. We're trying to figure out what exactly is going on here. So first of all, congratulations to the Toronto Maple Leafs, as well as the Florida Panthers. I really think that both teams, they had it in them. It was something that they were able to work out of, something that they were able to get to that next level. They always had it in them, regardless of their regular season performance. You know, if Toronto does win the Cup, I am going to look back at this and think, you know, all they had to do was really get by Tampa Bay. That was the team that they needed. They were the team. They were Toronto's Achilles, and ever since they got past this, they were able to get to the next round. That's exactly what happened, you know? But if we're looking into the future, you know, I'm pretty sure Tampa Bay is going to be, they're going to be around for a while. They're going to be in Toronto's division. I'm looking to the future, maybe though. Next season, Toronto doesn't want to be looking at that. They don't want to be thinking about how next year, you know, Tampa and Toronto, maybe they're going to play each other again in the first round. But anyway, I know Maple Leafs fans, they don't want to think about that. Believe me, since March, I've been thinking about that. I think Boston is still going to be good next year, though. Either way, you know, this kind of supports my theory that gets less and less subjective, is that when the playoffs start, every single team starts at 0. 0 wins, 0 losses, regardless of how the regular season went. Every team, whether you're the first seed or the 16th seed in hockey, you have just as good of a chance. You have 1/16th chance. All right, that's why I don't like these stupid betting odds. Okay. Oh yeah, before Game 6 against Tampa, Toronto they had definitely plus 2,200 to win, and now the betting odds recently are they have plus 3,200 to win the Stanley Cup. I'm not talking about any of that. Okay, none of that crap means anything to me. Okay, stupid betting projections, they absolutely have nothing to be backed back on. They have nothing but a bunch of people that are just looking at analytical projections to say how good of a team is. That is simply not the case, all right? But if you think that you're going to make quick and easy money from betting, then go ahead and do it, all right? Waste your time concerning yourself over that aspect of the game instead of watching the greatness before you. Anyway, Boston, a failure, no doubt. We're seeing back-to-back almost. We're seeing first-place teams going out sad. First, it's Milwaukee, and then it's the Boston Bruins. Now, I don't care about the metrics of this historical comparisons are here, because next year, 16 teams are going to get in with a 1/16th chance, and that's all you get, all right? That's just to get in. That's all you need. And that's the lens the teams should be looking through to get here, okay? Now, Giannis asked a reporter if each year, if he's not getting a promotion, does that count as a failed year? Which is pretty ridiculous, okay? I know that this reporter was in the wrong. We can all make that sort of assumption. But the fact of the matter is that Giannis, being a star basketball player, is not the same job as being a reporter, okay? Your job is to do as much as you can for your team to win, and a reporter is simply to garner headlines and create content for people's reading pleasure, okay? So those two things are very different. That's just the case here, okay? Extremely different things, all right? Now, is this an account of attacking the Bucks? Is this reporter out there to attack their accountability here? Well, I don't think in a press conference that's the kind of thing that you should be talking about, all right? Kind of like how Rick Bowness kind of just lashed out on his whole team, and now the Jets want him back. Well, Giannis had to make the best of the situation. You know, he couldn't just go overboard. He couldn't rip this guy to shreds and tell him that he makes $50 million a year. That's not something that he could have done. Okay, but still, you know, you got to make sure that you're professional because everybody's looking at you. And this reporter was just out to get a reaction, okay? And your reaction should be, well, we did the best that we could and the better team won, all right, regardless of the regular season. Yes, it's a massive upset. But now let's turn to the Boston Bruins. Now, they were in a very similar situation, except they had this record-setting performance in the regular season, 65 wins, in fact. 43 points in the standings, more than the Florida Panthers, which is something that you're going to look at and you're going to say, this is the biggest upset. You know, I don't really care about the historical comparison, like I just mentioned. But it was still a huge disappointment. And it's sad to see Bergeron go out this way. It's sad to see Krejci. These two guys probably go out this way. But yeah, the Bruins, they can't say this in a post-game press conferences. For Giannis' situation, he had to figure out how to mitigate the situation. He had to compartmentalize his feelings, and that's exactly what the Bruins did last night, if they learned anything from them. So yeah, measuring success, absolutely, 100%. You can't just say that it was from how the team's standings and output affected them, especially if they're individual players. Basketball, it's a little bit harder because, yes, Giannis can make a lot of different... He can move along very differently and affect the team a lot more, like making 13 free throws. I believe that was either Game 4 or Game 5 where he missed 13 free throws. And that's something that's a little bit unacceptable from an NBA player. It's also very seldom you don't see guys miss 13 free throws. If anything, that's kind of, wow, he did that. He was able to do that. So, yeah, that is unfortunately just the case here, right? And for a lot of these teams, looking to the future, looking to success, what is that going to look like for them? But there has to be a winning component, and it's just, like I said, you either have it or you don't. Deep inside, whether you're going to get past that first round and into the second, into the third, into the fourth, just like some of these teams, you know, no one was expecting Florida, you know, Seattle, Toronto were favorites in their series, but now these teams are going to be moving forward in theirs.